It's the Arizona Daily Stars Match Play Video Extra brought to you by Fry's Food Stores. It's the Friday morning edition. I'm Star Sports Editor Ryan Finley, joined by Daniel Berk. Daniel, we are down to 16 golfers, and it seems like nearly each of the 8 matches today has a really good storyline. Tell me about your favorite.
Yeah, I think there's, every match has something to offer. For me, it's one that we've talked about already a little bit, Ricky Fowler and Sergio Garcia. With Ricky Fowler, you have a guy who's certainly one of the most popular guys here, one of the most popular guys on tour, but he's ranked, 53rd in the world. So it's not like he's Tiger Woods or Rory McIlroy. So people just, kind of love him, love his story, and he struggled recently. But he knocked off Ian Poulter, he knocked off Jimmy Walker, and now today he goes up against Sergio Garcia, who's an interesting story himself. I mean, it was, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, we thought Tiger Woods, Sergio Garcia was going to be the next great golf rivalry, the next great rivalry in sports, and it hasn't happened, but he's still, a top 10 ranked player in the world, and a name that certainly draws attention and hasn't had a ton of success in this tournament, but I think today is a huge day for him if he can get by Fowler to make it to the weekend. So that's certainly one that I'll be watching, and probably my favorite one of the day.
In many ways, it's kind of a showdown between two underachievers, and maybe that sounds a little harsh, but you look at both Garcia and Fowler, both of them have been so hailed, I think, in the media. They're both such good sponsorship guys that, they really still haven't delivered on their promise here over the last, in the case of Garcia, 10 years, Fowler probably about 5. The good news, I guess, is somebody has to advance through that.
No question. I mean, you're definitely right about that. They are underachievers, and I think they would probably even admit to that. And the reason we like them is, you talked about this with me off camera. When we watched Ricky Fowler, walking off the 18th yesterday, he's just so polished.
Yeah.
Just the way he handles himself and talks to reporters, and he, just is. You just root for the guy because he just seems like a good dude, and that's what Jimmy Walker even said about him. So these guys have certainly struggled, and I think this is a big day for both of them because I think when you come here, certainly you want to win. I mean, that's everyone's goal. But I think the more realistic goal is let's get to Saturday. Furyk talked about that earlier this week, and I think that, hey, let's get me to the weekend. So a win today, and one of those guys goes to the weekend.
Well, and when you look at it, too, the prize money doubles pretty much every day you can survive here. The guys who lost in yesterday's second round still went home with something like $99,000.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's doubling every day, it's a pretty good motivator to make it to tomorrow.
It is, though, I would say, as Greg Hansen has written in the Star, I think the prize money here is a little bit overrated. These guys are all doing okay.
Yeah.
Back in the day, it was a bigger thing, and I think if it was such a huge issue, Tiger Woods and Adam Scott and Phil Mickelson would be here, and Justin Rose wouldn't have considered skipping it. So, yeah, it's some extra money, and for a guy like Fowler who's still working his way up, I'm sure it's significant, but Sergio Garcia, whether he makes $100,000 or $250,000, dinner should be on him tonight.
When you talk about some of the sort of emotional favorites out here, the guys who people will be rooting for, certainly Jim Furyk is one of them, but another guy who we really haven't talked a whole lot about is Ernie Els. He had a big win yesterday over Justin Rose and now has certainly a big match in the round of 16.
Yeah, and that's another one that I'm watching, Ernie Els, Jason Duffner. And I think Jason Duffner's a guy who also has a huge following on tour and an American that people here love. And Ernie Els is a story that people, it's a name that people know, and, a 4-time major winner, and he seems like he's always hanging around. So I think that'll be one that attracts a big gallery. And with Duffner, you have a guy, you were walking off the course with me yesterday, and you kind of looked at me and said, I don't get it with Duffner. I don't get why everyone loves this guy, but he's just a normal guy. He's got the long hair, he's got the dip in his mouth. He's got the beautiful wife. He lives the life that we all wish we could have, if we're being honest. And so, I think with that matchup too, Duffner Els, 2 major winners. Duffner won the PGA back in August. That'll be a fun one. So, there's going to be a lot of good ones to hop around to out there today and watch.
You know this, but our viewers don't. I've been out at this tournament for the last 7 or 8 years, and every year Ernie Els is here, I follow him because I like watching a tall man swing a golf club, and he's just so savvy. You can talk about the 20 years of pro golf experience. The shot that he hit yesterday on the sudden death hole, won him the match, and it was something that an average Joe like me hits 1 out of every 10,000 times.
Yeah, and even he said that's probably one of the better shots I've hit in a really long time. And he's kind of like a grouch to me. He walks into the tent yesterday and he's like, "Gosh, I don't like this. I don't like match play. I don't like the format." But you and your guys, you kind of have the weirdest guys. You can George Coetzee, I know you're rooting for today. Ernie Els, Sergio Garcia. But no, Ernie is a guy that I think people really like watching, and he is a big lumbering guy out there, can hit the ball a mile, and it just always seems like he's in this thing.
If we were talking about kind of a dream championship match, who do you think would get the most fans out here to Dove Mountain, and who do you think would get the largest TV ratings at this point?
Well, if you're talking fans out to Dove Mountain, if you got Furyk to the finals, I certainly think that would be a big deal. And then Jim Furyk Bubba Watson final would certainly be fun, or a Jim Furyk Jordan Spieth final, a Jim Furyk Jason Duffner final would all work. I'm trying to think of other guys on that side of the bracket, and there's a couple I think that have kind of come through. Jason Day is a guy that I think more and more people know and would certainly attract some TV ratings. So there's guys, I think, Harris English is a guy that probably wouldn't move the needle, as our Greg Hansen wrote about in today's Star. So I don't know if you want a guy like that making it through, or your boy Coetzee. But if Kuchar's in there again, or Mahan, or these are all big names that golf fans know and can move the needle.
And that's kind of the irony of really the round of 16 guys who we have. While this tournament lost all of its number one seeds yesterday, the remaining 16 guys, it's as probably talented and interesting a group as this tournament's ever had.
Yeah, and as I'm thinking here, Ricky Fowler's on the left side of the bracket. So if you have Ricky Fowler, Bubba Watson in the final, people are going to watch that. SportsCenter is going to talk about it. People are going to come out. That's so there's still a lot of potential matchups that could create a buzz in the finals.
Daniel Berk, I'm excited to go follow a couple of groups, go see if Sergio can pull this off. Certainly, Sam, our producer, if she can go back at the end of the week to what I said Monday, which is, I think Sergio Garcia is going to win this tournament. I'm standing by that prediction at this point.
Let's go Ricky Fowler.
Well, that'll do it for this morning's edition of the Arizona Daily Star's Match Play Video Extra, brought to you by Fry's Food Stores. For Daniel Berk, I'm Ryan Finley. We'll see you tonight.
Try this matchup. Low prices and faster checkout. You can count on it at Fry's.